I do not suppose you could have split things up.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
I'm invincible!
You're a loony.
It's not exactly brain surgery, is it?
To infinity and beyond!
Welcome back to I'm Carl Brown. This is video log entry number 9, and I can't believe it, how time flies. And today we're going to be talking about Good to Great by Jim Collins. And this has got to be one of the best books I've ever read about business. I strongly recommend it. It's a fabulous book, and there's so many reasons why it's great. First of all, the methodology is fantastic. You know, they started out. It took 5 years. It was 5 years in the making, and it was really a scientific approach. What I mean by that is they really looked at different scenarios, and they were observing nature, so to speak, and making predictions based on that. And it was not quite the full use of the scientific method, where the scientific method would then make predictions about future events and test them to validate the hypothesis. And you got to factor in that a couple of the companies that they chronicled are now completely bankrupt and out of business. But overall, fabulous book, and I gotta believe, and I am under the impression of and operating as if what Jim talks about in here is dead on. So let's talk a little bit about what he has in there. He talks about a level 5 leader and the different levels of leadership that he goes through. He shows you, number 1 is somebody that's highly capable, 2 a contributing team member, 3 a competent manager, 4 is an effective leader, but number 5 is a level 5 leader, an executive. And you know, it's something that when you read this book, you start to think like you're in the NBA. You start to think like talent search is something that people besides just NBA coaches ought to be thinking about. Because the level 5 leaders that they found in the case studies they did came from within their organizations. In other words, they were people who were working at those companies who rose to the top and demonstrated capacity and really led their companies from a good return on investment, a good stock portfolio, to a great performance. And it's something that we need to think about as we're dealing with people in our businesses, through our subcontractors, through our clients and vendors, that there's talent out there, and that we should be testing people all the time, looking for the talent, and then partnering with the people it makes sense to partner with, or put them into positions of leadership. And the level 5 leadership is somebody who can channel their ego away from themselves and towards the goal. They have ambition for the organization. And here's a concept. You know, an organization is either a corporation or it's a cult of personality. A level 5 leader goes for the corporation rather than a cult of personality. There's lots of gems in here on how to look for that talent, how to look for level 5 leadership. And it reminds me of a point from another book, I'll get to that maybe some other day, that said don't observe what people are good at and then employ them in that function. It said employ people in functions and then observe what they're good at. Didn't use that language exactly, but that's the mentality that we have to be having when we're looking for leaders. So another key concept from the book. I don't want this video to go on too long. I'm in the habit of breaking the 5-minute barrier, but first the who, then the what. Get the right people on the bus, get them in the right seat, and then hit the gas. It's very important to get the right people on the bus. You know, I was in a situation where somebody needed to be let go, and everybody knew that this person had to be let go. And the person who had to let them go finally realized, you know what, I'm doing this person no favors by keeping them. And we're not. If we don't have the right person in the right seat on the bus, we're not doing anyone any favors. First the who, then the what. That's how we go from good to great. Another thing is the hedgehog concept. You know, okay, for me to trust you, as a business partner, you ought to have this book on your bookshelf. And for me to trust me with your business, you ought to have it dog-eared to this page, okay? And I just say that because one of my business partners I trust enormously, shout out to you, Joe, has got this book on his behind his desk and is dog-eared right here. And the hedgehog concept drives everything. And it's a brilliant, no-brainer kind of thing. What are you passionate about? What can you be the best at? What drives your economic engine? The key to driving the economic engine, Joe, if you're watching this, you should be doing this video, but what drives your economic engine is the denominator. What drives your economic engine? How do you measure profitability? You know, sales divided by what? Number of employees, number of locations, number of projects, number of products, number of markets, number of region, number of salespeople, whatever. The denominator is the key, okay? And that brings us to the end. And so I'm just going to close out there. There are a couple other chapters, but again, I want to keep this under 5 minutes. One of the best books I've ever read. I appreciate you watching. Look forward to good content on I'm Carl Brown. I'm CarlBrown.com. Twitter, I'm Carl Brown. Facebook, I'm Carl Brown. And so on. We will see you on the next video log.